Welcome back, everybody. My name is Carlos.
My name is Liz.
And together we are
Project Revolution.
So, we just finished the podcast, of course. We're not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to come out next Tuesday. So make sure you stay tuned on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
And on Instagram.
That's right. And we ended it in kind of a nice way, I thought.
I really loved what we recorded, and I can't wait for you guys to watch or hear it, and then kind of just give us your feedback, because I mean, that's kind of what we want.
We hope that you are blessed by it, of course.
It took me a while.
Yep. Anyway, Liz, what's on your mind?
I kind of already told you. I can hear my kid and I can hear your niece just kind of like whispering with each other, and I'm just like, just flashbacks.
Which reminds us, because if you guys don't know, that we kind of pretty much grew up together, and we would be running around all over the place and just making noise, and childhood was fun.
It was.
I can honestly say childhood was very fun. I mean, I would do what I want to do, pee where I wanted to pee.
Oh.
I mean, I'm saying it's we were very blessed, and it's take care of your children. You know, make sure
Please do.
They are the future, and I guess that's what we're going to be talking about, children, huh? No.
No.
Well,
It was just like a little, like I can just hear them whispering. So I was just like,
unedited. We just go talk about whatever, just for you to be entertained a little bit.
yeah, like I said, I can just hear them whispering, and it just brings back those memories of like us growing up. And I'm like, if only we could go back to that time.
You know, it's a good memory. I don't know why it's good. I think I got spanked afterwards, but we were children, and I remember we went to this new church, so revisited this one church, and then it had like stainless glass steel, or not steel windows. And then,
Did he break one?
no, but I ran because I wasn't supposed to, and I was in a short leash. I was like, no more running, Carlos, in the church. No more jumping on the monkeys, man, kind of thing. So then I remember you and me, we ran towards it, and it was just so cool, just running like that. I'm not sure if you remember. It was just, we ran all the time.
I don't know, because I mean, from what I vaguely remember was the apartment that you guys used to live in Everson, and then like where we used to live too, at the trailer park. I mean, I remember both those homes pretty well.
Yeah, and then I also remember kind of where you would live. It'd be like the pruning. Was it a raspberry field?
Yeah, so I grew up there. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old up until I was 20.
Oh wow, yeah. I remember that place, and I remember my father and your father also kind of working around that area, and then I remember I would spend hours in the van because we didn't have a babysitter, and I had my little television. It would work. The only channel I got was I Love Lucy channel, and I love Lucy, let me tell you that. It's a funny show. I still watch it till this day. But anyways, it was, I would watch that, and then I'd play with my action figures. And that was pretty much how I would spend my winter vacation, or, summer vacation.
It was like always after school. Or after school was what we did. That was a long time ago.
This is true. And then, speaking of childhood, I also remember this one time when I was praying with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good prayer. I remember he was trying to teach me how to pray, and it was our hallway, and everyone would go to sleep, and then I remember I'd pray there, and it was, I remember it was just, I think it was training me up for like the future now, because it was something that most children, at least the kids that I grew up with, wouldn't do. So I remember, like at school, like I was in elementary, like I always felt distant from everybody else, you know. And I had friends or friends, and but you know, at the end of the day, I'd always apart from them because I always felt I don't know. I always just had this different personality sometimes when like my true self would come, and I remember we would pray together, and then I remember we would go to like church services and special guest speakers and all this stuff, and then I remember we prayed that night, and then I remember going back to it was on a Sunday night, and then on Monday I go back, and I remember for a split second I was gonna think, well, I don't really have anybody to play with or whatnot. But then like a peace came over me and it's like, you know what? Jesus is with you. I was like, you don't need anybody else. And I remember walking by myself and I was like, and I walked from like with my head down to like, that's right. I remember walking forward, and that's another like good memory that I have, and it's just when if you're like single or if you don't have much friends or if you don't do anything, I mean Jesus is your friend and he's enough and he will give you peace. And then I remember just because I had that peace with me, other the right friends would come towards me, and I'd have good friendships. I wasn't looking. I remember like, before that, and I'd go to make friends. It would never work out, But when the friends came to me, it just came so naturally, and it kind of went like throughout elementary and middle school, and even till this day, there's just the right people come to my life, and it's a blessing when you're walking with Jesus, and you don't have to really worry about the little details because he's taking care of those. Just focus your walk with him, and he'll provide the right people that need to be with you, that will be a blessing to you in one form or another. You got those blessed people that come reach out.
Of course I do.
You said
like my group chat with my church from back in Tri-Cities, yes. And then once in a while I have friends who will reach out, message me like, hey Liz, how are you doing? I'm good. We sit there and talk. Like I know one of my friends back from Tri-Cities, I know she watches this, so I mean we kind of sat there and talked for a little bit, but I know when I see her again, we are gonna have more of a talk.
Yeah.
And it's good to have those friendships that help build you, not just as a person, but spiritually too, because that's exactly what we need. I mean, I don't want to have a friend who's just gonna keep dragging me down and like instead of pushing me forward is just pulling me back. And I want to be more of a person, I guess.
It's great when you have like a friend that just understands your walk with Jesus, because that's their vision to walk with Jesus,
of course,
and then encourage one another. And then if we look at scriptures, Jesus had 12 disciples, right? But he only called one beloved, and that was John. And that's he called him. I mean, he still had Peter and other disciples that were pretty close to him, but John was his like beloved. He would call him. It was a more brotherly, like almost love. It was like they got each other, And I think we all need at least that one friend, or even like I've had like my mentor, my pastor. Like I feel he's not. He's like I love him, and it's like a beloved, and I almost see him like a spiritual father. And but he will always edify me or edify my soul. He always talk Jesus. We'll have conversations and he'll always help me, and he'll always help me, guide me. And then I think that's how the disciples would view Jesus as as more than a mentor, more than that, of course. But I think I kind of have an idea now. When you get a mentor, I think everyone should have some type of mentor that it just starts edifying your soul and your life, and you have someone to come to, because Sometimes all we got is just Jesus. But when we start, we're physical beings. If we start seeing and talking, it it's just more smooth. Life kind of seems to go a little bit more smooth, especially when they have your best interest at heart.
Of course. I mean, it's like I said, it's best to surround yourself with people who are going to edify you rather than drag you back and then just make it worse for you.
Yeah, and I encourage people to stay away from people that will drag you down. I've cut many people out of my life for specific reasons, and I can honestly say better off without them because it's just a burden sometimes hanging around with certain people when all they talk about is gossip, or all they want to talk about, they think they're spiritual, all they want to talk about is witchcraft, or when all they want to do is just be so boastful and say, I am this, I am that, and they think they're so spiritual free, but really they're just, pretty green in the things of the Lord, if you will, because they can't understand certain things. So it's important always to know when to cut those people out of your life. And I know I've cut people out of my life.
I know.
I'm sure you have too.
I like ever since I moved back, I honestly really don't go anywhere. I think it's just work and here and home, of course. But
Yeah.
I really don't do much, and my time is spent with my kids when I have that that morning free where I can be with them or like going. But that's about it. I really don't spend, or
Yeah.
family. That's about who I spend my time with.
And I'll spend a lot of time with my brother because we're into the same things, and we can always, but we also know Jesus, and we know our vision, and we know where we want to end up in this life. And so, because we share all that in common, it's like we can go anywhere and click or if I say I'm going to pray for this person, or if I say, if I feel something in the spirit, or if he feels something in the spirit, and we'll work with each other, and we'll be like boom boom, and it's like a teamwork, and it's cool to have that. And if people don't have that, I encourage you to pray for that. It'll help you in your walk with Christ. I can guarantee you that.
It definitely will. Trust me. I mean, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good advice. I mean, I didn't even know how much people I cut out of my life until I started, the Lord started working with me and revealing, like, yeah, I cut that person out of your life because he wasn't edifying you. I cut this person out of your life. And it's something that we should take into consideration if you're having troubles. Maybe you're having troubles with certain sin and you only do it when you're around that person. Maybe you're having troubles with drinking or smoking or doing drugs, or maybe just gossiping, and you're like, well, I cut them out of their lives, or whatever pulls you away from God. I remember I had some drinking buddies, and I've cut them out of my life too, and then I've had also people that would just talk too much. When I say talk too much, I mean
Gossiping wise.
not that, but like just have real raunchy conversations, and that's all what they want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm used to that. I guess working in a bar,
I wanted to ask you that. How is it? How do you feel working as a Christian? Like when let's say you're reading your Bible, or and then you come to a bar. Like, how does that make your soul feel? Is it like something you kind of regret, or just doing it for the money, or is it something you kind of
I don't regret it, because I think with the people I've been able to connect at work, like not just like coworkers, but customers. Like there are some customers like who, lo and behold, you don't even know that they're a Christian. They're there.
Yeah.
We all have like something, like some go to drink, some go to gamble, or some just go to eat and just hang out, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't really know. Like the other day, one of the customers, they were like, they're the regulars, I guess you would put it.
Yeah.
And they're like all older. How would I put it? They're very, not raunchy. I don't know how to put it.
Animated?
I guess, let's just say animated. And they do like to say like things, and I like to give it back to them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how else are you going to have fun?
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, even it happens even a lot at work. Like, I think when I first was at where I'm at, it was like I would be real quiet because I didn't want to, you know, push anybody's buttons or offend anybody. And then, you know, I'm still kind of with, you know, walking with Jesus, so I also always gotta have, you know, that reserve with me, be reserved, and so. But lately, I just kind of been, you know, just having fun, just dishing it out back and forth. But you know, even I've been like the Holy Spirit, you know, it's like, well, you talk a little bit too much. Like you, it's not my conscience. It's my like the Holy Spirit saying, you know, that was kind of offensive to me. You know, that, not offensive, but it wasn't edifying to your soul. And then,
Of course.
and but we're all humans, and the Lord is working with me, trimming me, and I could tell that He's been working me and trimming me, and I hope He's been trimming everybody who's been listening and keeping up, and anybody who's a Christian, you know, should always be constantly being trimmed, constantly being worked on spiritually and growing, you know.
Of course. But like, let me take it back to me working at the bar. I mean, I see all different walks of life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, man, what really gets to me is the people who come in and they're the drug addicts. They're the people who, like, you just look at them and you can see it in their eyes that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, at times I say a quick little prayer and I tell God, be with them, please. Like show them that you're the way, you know?
Have you ever talked about that?
I haven't, not with them specifically, because I really don't know how to approach a conversation with people who are like drug addicts, and they're just like, I don't want to like creep them out, so I just kind of keep it. But with other people, I'm like, some of them, like, customer the other day asked me, like, what are your hobbies? Like, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I
love Jesus and I do podcasts for him.
Well, no, hold on. It's funny because I was like, well, I really don't do anything. I just stay at home and I just kind of sleep, or I just watch TV. And I was like, wait. And as soon as I was saying it, I was like, wait, I take it back. You know what my hobby is? And this is where I was just joking, and I just threw it out because they're very country, and they're very the mom is very, like, she's older, more like she doesn't
country
know.
People are fun. Like, I've met a lot. They're just fun.
No, but they really don't know more like about like this generation. So I just kind of threw it. I was like, oh yeah, I do an OnlyFans, and and then the mom is like looking at me, an OnlyFans, what is that? And then like I was like trying to like explain it.
Bad joke. Never mind.
Like, I was trying to explain to her, but I was like, I'm kidding. I don't do any of that. Don't. And I was like, no, in reality, I do a podcast where we talk about all of this. And she's like, really? And then like we started talking a lot more, and she's like, well, my son's Orthodox and we're this and that and that. I'm like, okay. And we just got talking more and more, and I was like, okay, you know.
Nice. Which I got a suggestion. If you want to do it, you don't have to do it. But
No.
No, I'm talking about something else. So if you see someone who's, you know, drinking, you know, for the wrong reasons and just in it, say, you know what, I have a friend that I do podcasts with. Just tell him my testimony. Say, no, he's cut off completely, and I've blessed people, I believe, just telling people that, and just tell them that, see where that goes, and see how that conversation goes, and then that's an open door to start speaking your faith, you know.
Well, of course, and I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of my coworkers, also know what I do. Yeah. Like I haven't shared it with them specifically, but they do know, and so we all kind of don't talk to each other about it. But it's like,
And it's beginning to get so hard. I mean, to start talking because people would get offended and they won't want to not to do it. And it's a lot of Christians don't share their faith. I believe there's a statistic done a few years back that was like 80%, or it was a high number, something like that, don't share their faith.
and I was one of them. I will admit to it. I was one of them. But now I'm like, I'm so open to
Yeah.
it. Like, if you ask me, I'll be like, I'll tell you.
Yeah, like I'm not ashamed to talk about it, and I think a lot of people I know, they know I'm Christian, and I just hope to be a blessing. And the thing about being Christian is, we represent Jesus, and we gotta also watch out what we say and what we do. And
Of
I
course.
know it's a lot of people have struggle with that. I can include myself on there, and it's so we always have to be walking with Jesus and saying, this isn't going to look good because I am a ambassador, if you will, of the kingdom of heaven.
And you don't want to look like a hypocrite, which is
Exactly.
something like
And
I try to like
you can go
do.
both ways.
Exactly. That's
You
kind of
wanna
why
be
I'm like,
balanced. Yeah.
which is kind of, I don't sit there, like, I'm not ashamed to say I'm a Christian, because I am. But I don't want, some people are like, oh, I never knew you were a Christian. I never knew. I'm like, it's because I'm not going to sit there blatantly and tell you in the middle of a conversation where I don't know you that I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You know, like, eventually you're going to know, or if it comes out, like the religion talk comes out, then of course I'm going to talk to you about it and then go from there. But I'm not one to openly blurt out, oh yes, I'm a Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have I used to have like some shirts, but I got a little bit fatter, so they don't fit me anymore. But they'd have, they were kind of eye catchers, and people would talk to me about it, and I would say, well, this is what it meant. This is, one of them said Tetzlastai, and it had a fist, and it was, it had like a nice, like watercolors, and people would be like, oh, that looks cool. What's it? What does that mean, Tetlestai, And then I tell them, well, Tetlestai was the language that Jesus said, that his last words on the cross, which said, it is finished. And what he meant by that was that it is finished, the sin, the debt, the work that why he was sent to, it was finished, and now we're healed. Now we can be saved. And it was a good, starter, And
Good conversation starter.
conversation starter. People can be like, oh, cool, and then they understand a little bit more. And I try to throw jabs here, not jabs, but like little facts or little things here and there when I can. So it's encourage people to start doing it, and always be walking with Jesus and whatnot. And the funny thing is, so I was listening to one of the YouTube teachers, I guess you will, pastors, if you will, and he was talking about when he was a little boy, he got attacked by a dog, right? But he said it was his fault because he stepped into the territory of the dog, right? And then he was start talking about this, how a lot of Christians are, they get attacked spiritually because they go to the territories where they shouldn't. In other words, they were opening doors where they shouldn't.
Or they're treading waters.
Yeah, so there's like a thin line of being the light in the darkness, like either at your job or wherever it may be, in your personal life. And then there's also that other part where you can actually be, you're not 100% walking in truth and Jesus, and you're just kind of going over here and you're doing things that isn't pleasing the Lord. And then when you start doing things that isn't pleasing the Lord, then you get attacked spiritually or physically. And it's like a boxer, a boxer. If he doesn't train up, but he goes into the UFC octagon, that might not be the best thing for him, because first of all, he's got to watch out for takedowns, and he's got to watch out for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling and other things. But he's just a boxer, right? But on top of that, he didn't train up, and so he's got a little belly now, right? So that's how the Christians are. We gotta, if we're boxing in our ring, that's great, especially if we're fit. So we need to know our limits, but we also need to know that with Jesus Christ we have no limits.
Of course.
With that being said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell button. Anything you want to add to that?
No, be safe and check us out on like you said, on YouTube. Listen to us on our podcast, Apple and Spotify and any other platform. And
with that being said, God bless, and we out.